May I know why you're looking for me? Hanju asked in a puzzled tone. The ultimate god of punishment said, I want to tell you about the ancient desolate. He didn't hide anything and revealed his conspiracy with the ancient desolate divine spirit. He wasn't afraid that Hanju would leak it. After all, they were already standing at the peak of the chaos. Hanju was speechless after the ultimate god of punishment finished speaking. This fellow actually trusted others with his life. What was he thinking? If Hanju was the ultimate god of punishment, he would definitely join forces with the divine might heavenly sage to deal with the stronger ancient desolate divine spirit instead of directly admitting defeat and being willing to be a lackey. We can truly control the chaos if we follow the ancient desolate divine spirit. There are mysterious existences above the chaos. You should be able to sense that the Tao ancestor is one of them. If you insist on protecting the heavenly Tao, you will easily benefit the Tao ancestor. It's not worth it. Besides, haven't you already created a new universe? The ultimate god of punishment stared at Hanju and said seriously. Hanju remained silent. The ultimate god of punishment sighed. Besides, the ancient desolate divine spirit is determined. This matter can't be changed. Hanju asked, why aren't you resisting him? We can join forces. The ultimate god of punishment shook his head. I haven't improved for a long time, and that ancient desolate divine spirit is extremely powerful. In front of him, I'm like a mortal. The difference is really great, so great that you can't even imagine it. The reason why he let you go earlier was not that he was afraid of you, but because he didn't want to waste time. Hanju frowned. Is there really no one in the chaos who can resist the ancient desolate divine spirit? Laozi? The dark forbidden lord? Those unknown existences? They can't defeat him even if they join forces? The ultimate god shook his head. Hanju fell silent again. The ultimate god of punishment said faintly, fellow Taoist, think about it. Give me an answer in at most 1,000,000 years. I want to protect you and build the chaos with you. The dream shattered. Hanju opened his eyes and showed a mocking gaze. Ultimate god of punishment, thank you for your kind intentions, but your cowardice can't change the chaos. What's the difference between you and the former primordial ancestor god? Will you submit once an existence stronger than you appear? Hanju's eyes flickered. He would support a new leader of the divine spirits after destroying the ancient desolate divine spirit. People like Jiang Jueshi, Han Huang, and Azure Heaven Mystic had good personalities and were never afraid. Unfortunately, these geniuses needed too much time to grow. Hanju then used the image of the Dark Forbidden Lord to visit Divine Lord Peacock, Jing Tiangong, Shi Dudao, and the others in their dreams. He asked them to spread the news that the Dark Forbidden Lord would definitely sweep through the chaos and bring about a dark era. This was an ambush, making people think that the Dark Forbidden Lord was targeting the ancient desolate divine spirit because of his ambitions. He next sent a dream to Huang Zuntian in his true form, asking him to spread the threat of the ancient desolate. He wanted to create more hype and make the ancient desolate uneasy, making it impossible for the ultimate god of punishment to stop. The current Hanju was not the same as before. His cultivation level looked down on the chaos and his subordinates were scattered everywhere. He didn't need to do things personally. Hanju entered cultivation after doing all of this. No matter what, he could not relax his cultivation. Authority was supplementary. Strength was the foundation. Heavenly Tao, outside the 33rd heaven. The sages gathered in the universal hall. The foolish sword sage, great sage void soul, and red fate also came. Heavenly venerate Xian Du recounted the ancient desolate matter, and the sages became excited. How arrogant! Very good. The heavenly Tao has been peaceful for a long time. It's time for some suffering. Now, there are more than 10,000 heavenly Tao pseudo-sages and a million zenith heavens. How powerful are they? What is the ancient desolate? In the past, even the deity realm of the ruins of End was not the heavenly Tao's match. That's right. The heavenly Tao has 3 great Tao sages and the divine might heavenly sage who surpasses them. The sages discussed and expressed their opinions. They were not afraid of the ancient desolate. Pan-Xin cursed. So be it. It's a good opportunity to show the heavenly Tao's power. The Pangu race's prodigies have already risen. Although they're not sages, they're not far from it. Hanyu also stood up. I'll follow you. Seeing Hanyu stand up, Ji Xianshen, Yang Tiandong, Long Hao, Fang Liang, and a few other sages also stood up. Heavenly Venerate Xiandu said, "We still have to consider this matter at length. We indeed have to arrange manpower in the ancient desolate." The sages had no choice but to sit down. At the same time, the ancient desolate divine spirit's existence spread in the chaos. The news spread extremely quickly. The ultimate god of punishment also learned about this. He opened his eyes and frowned. He muttered, "Strange, why did the news spread? Could it be the divine might heavenly sage? No, the dark forbidden lord. Could it be those unknown existences?" The expression of the ultimate god of punishment was extremely ugly. Although he was the leader of the divine spirits, there were too many existences in the chaos that he could not see through. The ancient desolate divine spirit wanted to resist those unknown existences. Among them, the dark forbidden lord was the most mysterious existence on the surface. From what those voices were saying, the dark forbidden lord was going to sweep through the chaos. Could it be that the dark forbidden wanted to fight against the ancient desolate divine spirit? Could the dark forbidden lord be related to the divine might heavenly sage? The ultimate god of punishment subconsciously wanted to visit Hanju in his dreams and ask. But on second thought, so what if he asked? It had already happened. Very good. I want to see if you, the divine might heavenly sage and the dark forbidden lord, can defeat me and the ancient desolate divine spirit. The ultimate god of punishment said coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. He was still the ultimate god of punishment who dared to kill the leader of the divine spirits. On the other side, the ultimate god of punishment has developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 3 stars. Hanju, who was cultivating, saw a notification appear in front of him. He was indifferent and continued cultivating. He would deal with them together. He had thought that they could create the chaotic assembly together, but it seemed that he could only do it alone. Since the chaos did not tolerate him, he would control it. Hanju thought silently. He wanted to cultivate in peace, but people were always jumping out to give him trouble. Hanju thought of the Tao ancestor. Perhaps the Tao ancestor was secretly plotting all of this, causing the heavenly Tao to never have peace. Perhaps the Tao ancestor had shouldered more for the heavenly Tao. Under the old tree, Han Qing'er and Han Huang meditated side by side and opened their eyes at the same time. Han Huang praised, but these words were extremely ear-piercing to Han Qing'er. Humph! Han Qing'er snorted and left. Han Qing'er was even more furious when she heard that. She said angrily, "Second brother, don't open your mouth if you don't know how to speak." Han Huang scratched his head. He knew that he had said something wrong and hurriedly changed the topic. "Qing'er, do you want me to teach you a mystical power? I'm very knowledgeable about the divine might great heaven palm." Han Qing'er snorted. "Then I want your insights." The siblings returned to the old tree. Han Huang began to talk about his experience. Soon, Han Qing'er was entranced. Although she was unhappy with Han Huang's talent, she was also very impressed, so she wanted to hear his understanding. On the other side, On a star. Jiangjuesher had just attained the Great Tao and was consolidating his cultivation. Liu Bei stayed beside him. He held a white disc in his hand. In the disc, a small figure was practicing his moves. His movements were sharp and fast. Jiangjuesher opened his eyes and said, "Stop looking. It's meaningless." Liu Bei did not even move his eyes and said, "Do you think I'm like you? A great opportunity? My potential is mediocre. This mystical power is a huge opportunity for me." This disc was obtained by Jiangjuesher when he stopped the outsiders from invading the universe of stars. It recorded the inheritance of the race and contained a freedom technique. Jiangjuesher's expression was solemn as he said, "Recently, I've been feeling that something big is about to happen. It makes me very uneasy." Liu Bei said, "What are you afraid of? Who can hurt you in Master's territory?" Jiangjuesher thought of Hanju and relaxed. His mysterious master was indeed powerful and should be able to protect him. Why? Jiangjuesher frowned and fell into deep thought. On the peak of the blue sky, Han Tuo opened his eyes. Yi Tian was the same. The two of them looked at each other and saw the meaning in each other's eyes. Yi Tian cursed. "Again? This uneasy feeling? Brother, what do you think? Could it be that some force is manipulating us?" Han Tuo frowned. "I'm not sure. Perhaps we will understand after we attain the Great Tao." Yi Tian asked, "Should we tell the ultimate God about this?" Han Tuo shook his head. "Forget it, continue cultivating. Achieve the Great Tao as soon as possible and not for the Great Tao. Participating in the chaotic assembly is just to make the numbers." Yi Tian felt that it made sense and nodded in agreement. The two of them continued cultivating, reaching ever closer to the Great Tao. The Great Tao Tower floated forward quietly in the chaotic void, surrounded by countless cities and islands. Zhou Fan looked at the evil heavenly emperor walking over and laughed. "Your Majesty, long time no see. Why are you so free to visit me? Could it be that you have another opportunity?" There was another person behind the evil heavenly emperor. He was called the War Buddha. He was Chu Shuren's disciple, the Buddha spirit of the Buddhist world. He was now the divine general of the heavenly court. "That's right, it's a huge opportunity." The evil heavenly emperor laughed. His gaze landed on Mo Fuzhou beside Zhou Fan and he nodded with a smile. Zhou Fan warmly pulled the evil heavenly emperor to a seat. "Tell me, what great opportunity? I've been waiting for a long time." Zhou Fan smiled. The chaos was vast. Although the Great Tao Tower had always been sailing, it might encounter very few opportunities. He often missed working with the evil heavenly emperor. He was also very curious about why he could always find resources, treasures, worlds with abundant inheritances, and goals while he could not. The evil heavenly emperor smiled. "You might step into the Great Tao with this opportunity." Zhou Fan became even more excited. He listened carefully to the evil heavenly emperor. Mo Fuzhou was also listening. He looked at the evil heavenly emperor and sighed. He did not expect to encounter an old friend from the immortal world in the chaos. It felt like the world had changed. As for the War Buddha, he was expressionless, as if he was not interested in this matter. After a long while, Zhou Fan frowned and fell into deep thought. The evil heavenly emperor was not in a hurry. He began to talk to Mo Fuzhou about the past of the immortal world. "I think it's feasible. The risk is indeed high, but how can there be an opportunity that doesn't bring risks? Even with my inheritance, you can at most attain the Great Tao. It's almost impossible to take another step forward." A voice sounded in Zhou Fan's mind. It was Seven Tao Sage. Zhou Fan asked hesitantly, "How dangerous is that ancient desolate? Recently, it has been spreading in the chaos. Countless Tao devils have gathered there. Weren't you overturned by the Tao devils in the deity realm of the ruins of End? It's indeed because of the Tao devils, but it's different now. The evil heavenly emperor is clearly fearless. I suspect he's being backed by an unimaginably mighty figure. Zhou Fan couldn't help but look at the evil heavenly emperor. The evil heavenly emperor sensed his gaze and smiled at him. Zhou Fan still trusted the evil heavenly emperor. The two of them had risked their lives more than once. He was worthy of his trust. All right, I'll do it. When are we moving? Zhou Fan gritted his teeth and asked. The evil heavenly emperor smiled. There's no hurry. I still have to rope in others. There's strength in numbers. I can't be rash. Zhou Fan smiled. I'm not worried about His Majesty. I'll wait for your orders. The two of them smiled at each other. By the way, have you seen Hanju's son, Han Huang? The evil heavenly emperor suddenly asked. Hanju. Mo Fuzhou's expression changed. Zhou Fan noticed the change in his expression and hurriedly laughed. I've heard of him, but I've never seen him. I have to say, your master really gave birth to a good son. Huang is even more talented than his elder brother. I heard that he has already attained the Great Tao. The evil heavenly emperor sighed. What? What? Mo Fuzhou and Zhou Fan exclaimed at the same time. Zhou Fan was surprised that his junior had already surpassed him. The War Buddha's eyes narrowed. He had heard the evil heavenly emperor flatter Han Huang more than once. He was a little unconvinced, but he had never revealed it. Zhou Fan couldn't be bothered with Mo Fuzhou. He stared at the evil heavenly emperor and asked, when did little junior brother attain the Great Tao? The evil heavenly emperor shook his head. I'm not sure. In any case, no matter how long he took, his potential is terrifying. Zhou Fan was silent. Year after year passed. The chaos surged. The dark forbidden lord created momentum, the ancient desolate stirred up a calamity, and so on, causing the chaos to be uneasy. 100,000 years later, there was still no movement from the ancient desolate, and the disciples of the dark forbidden lord were still spreading rumors. Many evil things in the chaos were pinned on the dark forbidden lord, as if it was not surprising that these evil things were done by him. Hanju opened his eyes and stretched in satisfaction. His cultivation speed was still very fast even though he had reached the late-stage Great Tao Supreme. Should he increase his bloodline again in the next primordial chaos great creation? Hanju felt that it was feasible. He wanted to leave the living beings of the chaos far behind. Even if he became the strongest, he had to widen the gap between him and the second strongest in the chaos. Hanju habitually checked the emails. At this moment, he suddenly felt something and looked up. Above the chaos, a figure under the 7 supreme rules. A voice was absorbing the power of the 7 supreme rules. It was Ancestor Tiansu who had suppressed Divine Lord Peacock. What does he want? Hanju frowned and stared at Ancestor Tiansu. Ancestor Tiansu raised his right hand. His palm was connected to one of the supreme rules and kept absorbing its power. Ancestor Tiansu had perfected Great Tao Supreme Cultivation. He was the strongest Tao Devil of the ancient desolate divine spirits. Very few were his match in the chaos. Now, no Great Tao Supreme dared to stop him. As for the ultimate god of punishment, he had clearly tacitly agreed. Unable to figure it out, Hanju had to ask in his mind, why is Ancestor Tiansu doing this? 1 trillion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Hanju's will entered the illusion. He opened his eyes and discovered that he was standing on a desolate land filled with fog. In front of him was Ancestor Tiansu. Ancestor Tiansu was kneeling, and a shadow floated in front of him. From the figure, who else could it be but the ancient desolate divine spirit? Divine spirit, what can I do for you? Ancestor Tiansu asked indifferently. The ancient desolate divine spirit said coldly, the divine might heavenly sage is stronger than I expected. We need to revise the plans. I need you to control a supreme rule and attract countless geniuses of the chaos to serve you. At that time, you will bring the geniuses and I will bring the Tao devils to flatten the heavenly Tao and sweep through the chaos. Discover EW chapters at Novel by Co-Stunned. Ancestor Tiansu asked hesitantly, how can I grasp the supreme rules? I have my ways. In any case, you are a Tao devil. You are not afraid of death. Yes. Although Ancestor Tiansu was puzzled, he still agreed. The ancient desolate divine spirit said calmly, this chaos is very big, but also very small. When you master the supreme rules, you will understand that the chaos is already in our hands. Ancestor Tiansu was silent. The illusion shattered. Hanju opened his eyes and frowned. Control the supreme rules and make the chaotic prodigies serve him? What did this mean? A variable appeared above the chaos just as Hanju was feeling puzzled. Ancestor Tiansu also felt it. He turned around and narrowed his eyes. Following his gaze, a sword light attacked from the chaos. A figure stood on the sword light. That person wore a green Taoist robe and held a horsetail whisk. He had an immortal aura and sharp eyebrows. Lao Zi! Ancestor Tiansu said coldly, I was wondering who it was. So it's the Tao ancestor's first disciple. Lao Zi's expression was indifferent as he said, fellow Taoist Tiansu, this is damaging the chaotic order. I advise you not to insist. Hee, fellow Taoist, you are really like your teacher. The supreme rules are important. If you insist, I won't care about our past relationship and will attack you. Lao Zi stared at Ancestor Tiansu. His tone was indifferent, but his words were extremely domineering and did not show any mercy. Ancestor Tiansu smiled. Then attack. I'll kill you first and then give the Tao ancestor a huge gift before we meet. Humph. Lao Zi raised his sleeve and waved it. The void under the 7 supreme rules instantly became as bright as day. A huge battle erupted. Hanju sat in the Taoist temple and watched the battle with relish. This was a top-notch battle in the Great Tao Supreme Realm. Space collapsed, but the 7 supreme rules remained unmoved and were not destroyed. Although the battle was terrifying, it did not alarm the chaos. Only those at the Great Tao Supreme Realm could sense it. Ordinary Great Tao sages could at most sense the pressure and not see the highest plane where the supreme rules were located. At this moment, Han Huang suddenly visited the Taoist temple. Hanju let him in. Han Huang came in front of him and bowed. Then, he looked up and asked, Father, do you feel that someone is fighting up there? Where? Mio. In any case, it's above. I don't know how high it is. Han Huang scratched his head. He stared at him and continued, I'm sure my feeling is right. Hanju said, you have a good instinct. I'll let you take a look. He waved his hand, causing Han Huang's consciousness to arrive above the chaos and witness the battle between Lao Zi and Ancestor Tiansu, as if he was in a dream. Hanju also continued to watch the battle. This battle lasted for half a day. In the end, Lao Zi and Ancestor Tiansu were both injured and retreated. From a strategic point of view, Lao Zi had succeeded. At least, he had stopped Ancestor Tiansu. They were on par. Ancestor Tiansu's Tao Devil body was extremely strange and undying. Lao Zi's sword Tao was extremely sharp and could cut through the Great Tao. Han Huang opened his eyes and looked excited. Father, What realm is that? Great Tao Supreme? Han Huang clenched his fists and asked with a burning gaze. Hanju nodded. Han Huang said excitedly, their mystical powers are so impressive. I only remember 30%, but it's enough for me to cultivate. Hanju was stunned. You can learn their mystical power just by watching the battle? There are some mystical powers that I can't see through. I can teach myself the rest. Hanju was a little stunned upon looking at his high-spirited son. He suddenly felt that he had underestimated him. Father, are you also a great Tao Supreme? About the same. Impossible. I challenged you in the simulation trial. I can't see through your Dharma idol mystical power. Hee, just because you can't see through it doesn't mean it's strong. Han Huang curled his lips, knowing that his father was bluffing again. In his mind, his father had always been the strongest. Even if the battle between Laozi and ancestor Tian Su was extremely shocking, it could not change his thoughts. By the way, father, what are the 7 lights above those 2? The moment I saw them, I inexplicably wanted to take them for myself, Han Huang asked with glowing eyes. Hanju showed a frown. He wanted to take them for himself? Hanju suddenly didn't know if he should tell him the truth. With Han Huang's desire for power, he might really target the 7 supreme rules. Han Huang smiled. It's fine if you don't want to say it, father. Perhaps my cultivation level is not high enough and I can't be that ambitious. Then, I'll go back and cultivate. Watch as I learn the skills of those 2 brats. I'll teach them to Qinger and the other disciples. With that, Han Huang turned around and left. Hanju looked at his back, stunned. Would he have ended up with his son's personality if he kept choosing the first option provided by the system? Hanju shook his head and laughed, not thinking about it anymore. Laozi's appearance proved that there were still experts in the chaos. It was not that they could not leave Hanju. He had to continue cultivating and reach the perfected Great Tao Supreme Realm as soon as possible. At that time, it shouldn't be difficult to insta-kill the ancient desolate divine spirit. The battle between ancestor Tian Su and Laozi did not cause a stir. After all, most Great Tao sages couldn't spy on this battle. How could this battle spread among all living beings? Hanju continued to cultivate. The years passed. 120,000 years later. That day, Hanju was cultivating. In the Taoist temple beside him, Han Huang, who was cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes. He raised his eyebrows and muttered, this feeling, bloodline resonance. A relative wants to attain the Great Tao? He hesitated for a moment and closed his eyes. His will arrived at the door of the Great Tao. The door of the Great Tao stood in the darkness, looking majestic. At this moment, a person was waiting here. It was the divine-robed Taoist. Han Huang greeted him and asked, Senior, who are you waiting for? Divine-robed Taoist immediately smiled and said upon seeing him, speaking of which, this person is related to you. Han Huang's expression changed as he asked, could it be my elder brother? The divine-robed Taoist smiled and nodded. He sighed. Master's 2 sons are both impressive. Han Tuo was a chaotic fiend celestial and a great Tao divine spirit. His talent and power surpassed all living beings. Han Huang was even more ridiculous. He had attained the Great Tao in less than 500,000 years. It could be said to be unprecedented. You know my brother? Tell me quickly. Han Huang asked excitedly. The elder brother was his closest family. He was naturally curious about this elder brother he had never met. The divine-robed Taoist smiled and nodded. Then, he talked about Han Tuo. Chaotic fiend celestial. 5 great divine punishers. Han Huang's blood boiled when he heard that. He thought to himself that they were indeed brothers. Han Tuo's deeds were what he wanted to do, but his father did not let him out. At this moment, the door of the great Tao trembled violently. Han Tuo was about to break through. Han Huang frowned and said in a low voice, "More than one person is breaking through?" "Ha ha ha! Brother, we're about to succeed." A loud laugh sounded. It was Yi Tian. Han Tuo's voice sounded, "How can we not succeed if the two of us join forces? Actually, I don't need your help. I've heard that many mighty figures will stop their juniors from breaking through. Aren't I worried about you?" "Hee hee, I don't know you. Are you worried about yourself?" "Actually, you don't have to worry at all. We are the divine punishers. Who dares to stop us?" W.O.S. What if? The door to the great Tao opened, and Han Tuo and Yi Tian slowly walked in. Just as Han Huang was about to step forward, figures appeared nearby. More and more appeared. "Congratulations on attaining the great Tao. You're truly geniuses. You attained the great Tao in 7 million years. Of course. Otherwise, why would the leader of the divine spirits choose them? Congratulations. The two of you will definitely obtain the title of the Chaotic 10 Absolutes in the Chaotic Assembly." Dozens of great Tao sages praised Han Tuo and Yi Tian. The 5 great divine punishers had traveled the chaos previously. The great Tao sages on the surface had seen them. Now that the chaos was peaceful, with the ultimate god of punishment suppressing them, they naturally had to give him face. Han Tuo had no choice but to start exchanging pleasantries. Yi Tian curled his lips and did not speak. Han Huang looked at his brother who was surrounded by stars. He smiled and his eyes revealed a hint of envy. He also wanted such glory. He was born as freedom and had unparalleled talent. How could no one know? Han Huang nodded excitedly and clenched his fists. Although the divine robed Taoist's words were soft, everyone present was a great Tao sage and could hear him clearly. For a time, everyone looked at Han Huang and the divine robed Taoist. Han Tuo's gaze landed on Han Huang and he couldn't help but be stunned. Yi Tian was the same. His gaze wandered back and forth between them in surprise. "Oh, could this be my younger god brother?" Yi Tian instantly arrived in front of Han Huang and asked in surprise. "God brother?" Han Huang frowned. Yi Tian grinned. "I'm the heavenly Tao's divine might heavenly sage's godson. Aren't I your god brother? Divine might heavenly sage's son." The dozens of great Tao sages were moved. Han Tuo walked over and sized him up. "What's your name?" Han Huang looked at him and said, "Han Huang, Xing Hongshuan's son." Han Tuo smiled and patted his shoulder. He praised, "As expected of my younger brother. Your bearing is extraordinary. You're even more like a father than me." Han Huang couldn't hold it in anymore and said excitedly, "Big brother, I've long wanted to see you. Not only me but also Qing'er, your younger sister. Ha ha ha, I want to show off to her and let her attain the great Tao as soon as possible. This way, the two of us can meet here." Han Huang had never been so excited. "Wait! When did you attain the great Tao?" Yi Tian suddenly shouted. He finally reacted. "Wasn't this kid only born a few 100,000 years ago?" Han Huang said, "It's been a while." Han Tuo was moved. The divine robed Taoist smiled and said, "This kid was born as freedom. He reached the great Tao in less than 500,000 years." Whoosh! The surrounding great Tao sages were all in an uproar, not daring to believe their ears. Achieving the great Tao in less than 500,000 years? Impossible! Even Pangu and the Tao ancestor were not so exaggerated. Many great Tao sages immediately had ill intentions. but they gave up when they thought of how this child was the son of the Divine Might Heavenly Sage. The Divine Might Heavenly Sage was the strongest in the chaos. He was a terrifying mighty figure who had killed 20,000 Divine Authority generals with a single strike. An existence that surpassed giant god Pangu. Han Tuo frowned slightly when he saw people around. Seeing this, the great Tao sages bid farewell. Some passionate people went forward to strike up a conversation with Han Huang and then left. They were quite tactful. Soon, only Han Tuo, Yi Tian, Han Huang, and the divine-robed Taoist were left. Han Tuo looked at the divine-robed Taoist and frowned. The divine-robed Taoist was a great Tao divine spirit and was equivalent to Han Tuo's subordinate. Han Tuo naturally did not have to give him face. It's fine, big brother. This senior was the one who received me when I attained the Tao. He's on good terms with our father. I asked our father and he said that we can trust him, Han Huang said. Han Tuo's brows relaxed. Han Tuo was silent. He had to admit that following his father might be easier. However, he did not want to be protected by his father forever. He looked at Han Huang and said, in the future, you have to maintain your previous cultivation attitude and not slack off. Don't let me catch up to you. These words were sincere. Towards the end, his tone was filled with killing intent, causing Han Tuo and the divine-robed Taoist to be stunned. This kid had such great killing intent. Yi Tian was amused. He hooked his arm around Han Huang's neck and smiled. I like your temper. If I, your god brother, am unhappy with someone, will you help me kill them? No problem, wait for me to be invincible. I don't know when, but it will definitely happen. Damn it, so you're bragging. In the Taoist temple, Han Huang opened his eyes and smiled excitedly. He immediately rushed out of the Taoist temple and appeared in front of Han Qing'er. Qing'er, I saw Big Brother and God Brother, Han Huang said excitedly. Thinking back to their previous encounter, he was still very excited. Stunned, Han Qing'er asked, where did you see them? Han Huang did not hide anything and told her everything. The big brother she had always admired was actually not as fast as her second brother. Why was their second brother so powerful? Han Qing'er's curiosity was piqued. Why? Brother is now the leader of the 5 great divine punishers. He oversees all the great Tao divine spirits, and they control the chaotic domain. One of my seniors is a great Tao divine spirit. The heavenly Tao is under the jurisdiction of the great Tao divine spirit. It can be imagined how high brother's status is. That god brother is also a divine punisher. It's equivalent to 2 of the 5 great divine punishers being our brothers. Han Huang smiled proudly, as if he was a divine punisher himself. Han Qing'er became more and more curious and began to ask him about his understanding of the chaos. Han Huang told her everything he knew. He had never been to the chaos, but he could spy on much wider areas than Han Qing'er. In addition to the story of the divine-robed Taoist, Han Tuo, and Yi Tian, his understanding of the chaos could be said to be very rich, as if he had personally traveled it. After a long time, Han Qing'er sighed. I really want to go out, but father is right. We'll easily cause trouble for him if we go out now. Han Huang patted her shoulder and smiled. It's fine. When I reach the Great Tao Supreme, father will have no reason to stop me. At that time, I will protect you wherever you want to go. I am not afraid that you will cause trouble for me. Han Qing'er rolled her eyes. This kid had wanted to be a younger brother since he was young, but now, he was like an elder sibling. Although she was a little jealous of Han Huang, she also trusted him. She believed that he would protect her. Han Huang had never hurt her ever since he was young. The siblings began to fantasize about wandering the chaos in the future. Hanju opened his eyes. Another 100,000 years passed in seclusion. His ultimate origin power kept increasing. During this period of cultivation, he focused on the power of the ultimate origin fiend celestial. Apart from being stronger than supreme power, the ultimate origin power definitely had its own unique ability. It was just that he needed to study it. The ultimate origin fiend celestial was like a huge treasure trove, waiting for Hanju to find its mysteries. He had discovered a characteristic of the ultimate origin power in the past 100,000 years. It could negate the power of rules of the 3,000 Great Tao. This trait alone was very domineering. The divine might Great Heaven Palm seemed to be made for the ultimate origin fiend celestial. The divine might Great Heaven Palm's profundity was to destroy everything. It could destroy rules. Hanju had a feeling. At that time, Hanju would be like the ninth chaos that created the chaos. He would be supreme and look down on all living beings. He was quite excited just thinking about it. Hanju opened the emails and started to check on his friends. He noticed that Han Tuo and Yi Tian had attained the Great Tao. It was not surprising. After all, the two of them were chaotic fiend celestials and had the providence of the divine punishers. It'd be ridiculous if they couldn't attain the Great Tao. After reading the emails and confirming that no one around him was fine, Hanju continued cultivating in seclusion. He only had one goal now, and that was to break through to the perfected Great Tao Supreme Realm. He had a feeling that after stepping into the perfected realm, his strength would soar again, equivalent to breaking through a major realm. On the star, Jiang Juesher suddenly opened his eyes and stood up. Liu Bei couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong?" Jiang Juesher said, "Follow me." With that, he vanished. Liu Bei hurriedly chased after him. Jiang Juesher stood beside a lake and looked over. He saw a lotus flower slowly blooming in the center of the lake. Liu Bei appeared and frowned when he noticed the lotus. Life force! This lotus wants to transform into a spirit? Liu Bei muttered to himself. Jiang Juesher smiled. Congratulations, Brother Liu. This world is about to succeed. Only when living beings were born would the world be formed. The spirit of heaven and the spirit of earth gave birth to all things. Liu Bei smiled. This is worth celebrating. Why don't you take it in as your disciple? It can be considered an inheritance. This is considered my son, too. Jiang Juesher hesitated. Jiang Juesher was moved. The aura of creation. He couldn't help but recall the situation when he obtained a great opportunity. All right, I'll take in this disciple, Jiang Juesher said with a burning gaze. Liu Bei cursed silently. Would you have rejected me if not for this? Chaos, ancient desolate. Suic. In the void, the ancient desolate was surrounded by chaotic chi and was faintly discernible. Even in the vast and endless chaos, the ancient desolate looked extremely huge, like a chaotic beast that had split the world apart. Han Yu, Qin Ling, and Long Hao stood on a meteor and looked at the ancient desolate from afar. Countless ghosts circled above the ancient desolate, roaring silently in the mist. Their scalps tingled. The ancient desolate is ahead. Should we go in? Qin Ling asked as he took out a spear wrapped in a golden dragon. Long Hao shook his head. Don't be anxious. Look around. There are other auras nearby. It seems that the heavenly Tao is not the only one who is afraid of the ancient desolate. Han Yu said, of course. The ancient desolate divine spirit's main goal is to control the chaos. Trampling the heavenly Tao is only revenge. If the lips die, the teeth will feel cold. The master of the world should understand this logic. Qin Ling frowned. Should we join forces with the others? At this moment. Swish. A black arrow shot over from the depths of the ancient desolate at an extremely fast speed. It traveled for billions of kilometers and targeted Qinling. Qinling raised his hand and blocked the black arrow with the tip of the spear. The black arrow dissipated and transformed into a black mist that tried to surround him. Crap! Qinling's expression changed drastically. He discovered that he couldn't move and could only watch as the black mist drowned him. Han Yu and Long Hao immediately attacked the black mist.